stays cold. You cut it up into that size of pieces. You put it into a quart jar. That's a 2-quart jar. But for every quart, you put it in a quart jar. And the key to the whole thing is you keep it cold the whole time. You never ever let it get below room temperature. Room temperature, I mean, if the fish itself gets warm at all, it's going to get soft and mushy, and it happens immediately. So you keep it cold the whole time. So you take the fish, cut it up into them size chunks, put it in a quart jar.
Awesome.
And for every quart jar, you use 5/8 of a cup of pickling salt and white vinegar. Pour that in there, and then every day for a week, you turn it up and down, and that cures the fish. And then after that, 7 days, and the key is that really you can go up to a month with it on that recipe, and it will
Just
not
the vinegar
hurt it.
and
It will not hurt it, but it needs at least 7 days of turning every day. Okay, with 5/8 of a cup of pickling salt in a quart jar with white vinegar. Okay, keeping it cold every day. What I do is I turn it every single day, and I just mix it, and so that it just eats the bones up. You know, and the thing is that northern.
Is that it?
Northern.
Is there any more to the secret?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, there's a lot more.
A lot more to it.
To the secret?
That's
Can we
just
get to
number
that?
A lot
one.
more to the secret.
I'm
than
running
that.
out of video room here.
Okay, well, there's a lot more to the secret than that, and northern pike is the key. You can use walleye, you can use white bass, you can use rainbow trout, whatever you want to use, but northern pike is for some reason, is the fish that works the best in this pickled fish recipe.
Is it because
So-
it's more dense?
Yeah, probably that it is more dense. That's probably a good explanation. You do this and you get the first series, the first stage of that fish. Okay, when you're ready to go into the second phase of it, whether it's for sure after a week, up to a month of the first phase of the fish, you take all of your pickled fish, dump it out of the jars, get it into your sink, and rinse the shit out of it in very, very cold water. But before you decide that day, that's the time you're going to finish the pickling process, you start on the stove. For every quart of pickled fish that you're going to do, you use 2 cups of sugar and 1 cup of vinegar. Most people do not realize that. They think it would be different, but it's 2 cups of sugar to 1 cup of vinegar, pickling spice, and the secret ingredient is powdered clove. Okay? Powdered clove to whatever. Okay? So you make this brine. The second brine is what you're going to add to the fish once you have rinsed it thoroughly, and I'll back up to that. But your brine is what, when you did the day that you decide that you're going to take it out of the first phase where you have the pickling salt and the vinegar, where you're actually curing that fish. The 2 keys to this whole recipe is that when you dump that first phase into the sink, you're using cold water, and you are rinsing thoroughly with cold water. Rinsing, and when I get it in my sink, I'm rinsing for 5 minutes. I'm thoroughly mixing the fish up and
That's good
pouring
stuff.
cold water over it non-stop. Rinsing the shit out of it to get that salty flavoring, that salt off of the first brine off of it. Rinse the shit out of it in cold water so that it stays firm, stays rock hard. Okay? So then, on your stove, you're mixing per quart 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of vinegar, a lot of pickling spice, and then I like the powdered clove. That's the secret ingredient. Okay? So then, your second brine is warming on the stove. Once it melts, you don't turn it very high, you just turn it on the stove warm enough to melt that sugar. So as you're turning it, it all melts, and that sugar brine with vinegar is, you don't turn it on high, I go to like medium high, so that brine is melting, and it's a clear solution. It's a clear solution, right? So then you need to cool that second brine. You need to cool that second brine. So what I do is typically I'll either set it outside in the winter if I'm doing it, I'll put it in the sink, pour cold water around it, whatever, or set it out. This is the time process that you're talking about, where you need that brine to cool down. You don't pour that brine over the fish when it's warm. So back up again. Now you've rinsed your fish really thoroughly in cold water. It's still firm. Now you take a good, sweet, white onion. Okay, you can use a yellow onion, but the onion that you use is cured. That onion that you have there is a yellow onion, but a sweet white onion is the best. So what you do is you dice up that onion, you stack your jars with the very well rinsed fish pieces, put them back in the jar. You got the chunks of fish, you got the white onion, you stack your jars, pack them up, and then once your brine has cooled, you pour it over the top of the fish. Just put your lids back on it, put it in the fridge. I started eating it within a day, but within that fish and that brine is good for a year. That fish that you're eating right there, and that you're videoing, that fish you're eating right there, that's probably 8 months old. And the older you get it, the better it gets, and I promise you, it won't ruin you, won't tear you up. I do have this one word of advice. Do not come home at night drunk, hungry, and grab a jar of that fish and eat nothing but pickled fish and crackers and then go pass out drunk at night, because you will wake up in the middle of the night just holding your belly and rolling around and going, what the fuck is going on right now? Because that ball of fish will be in your tummy, bouncing around like this, and it'll hurt you bad. So do not eat it alone.
It's the best pickled fish ever.
It is.
Also,
good.
some great advice.
It will win any state fair. It's the best.
That stuff is awesome. Thanks, Cheddar.
I recorded it.